And good evening, everybody. This is Michael Filighera. I'm with logicalsignals.com and also tradershelpingtraders.com. And this is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Monday, August 30th, 2021. The markets have continued to blast higher today, with the NASDAQ really starting pretty much right from the opening and just buyer, 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 buyer. Now, today's move up really happened in a very light volume. And if you remember, as I was discussing yesterday, when we're up here in uncharted territory, that when you come in with a larger order and you've got to buy it, you're going to be able to push the market pretty easily and pretty far just to get your orders filled. So that is pretty much what happened. Let's just take a quick review. Yesterday, I had left this as a 1, 2, 3, and a 4, looking for just maybe something not quite as heavy. But I switched it around today because the market does not appear to be finished. And we need to just open this up a little bit because I think my 3 got misplaced. So let's duplicate that drawing and move it to here. And that's going to be the name of that too. So essentially what I did is I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's wave 1, this is 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is wave 3. Now, if this is the case, we need to do a little wave 4, and then we're going to do another wave 5. Now, the ease at which the NASDAQ basically in the first 2 hours today zipped through resistance levels as if they just weren't even there. They made no consideration. It's like, oh, maybe we should stop and take a look and pause. Nope. And again, I think it's because we're in uncharted territory. So they just buy. And just, this is what I need. This is what we're going to do. And that's pretty much what happened. So what does this all really begin to tell us? Well, there's quite a few things that really we're going to be adding on. So as you can see, I basically have taken all of the Fibonacci's off except for one, and that is the intermediate fifth wave. So we're going to be looking at where can this intermediate fifth wave go to? Well, as we can see, the intermediate fifth wave basically has already blasted through that 0.786. So intermediate wave 5 is now past the 0.786 percentage level of intermediate wave 3. Where's that 100% level? Way up there, 16,319. So on an intermediate degree level, that's where it can go. Now, I'm going to pull this back down. Let's start filling in the blanks. So I also have basically minor wave 5, and that's the one that's here on the inside. Well, minor wave 5 zipped up through 0.382, and its next levels, 50% is 15,783. 618 is 16,042. Starting to get up there in the world. Now, I'm going to add the next Fibonacci extension, and that's going to be for the minute wave 5. And so that's going to be here to this thing. Oops, come on back. To this thing, you're not going to do it, are you? Come on. Take that, thank you. To this 4. And you can see in that, for minute 5, we got right up into 0.618, exceeded it, got real comfortable above 15,600. It was quite strange. I was trading it all day today and just putting on trades above 15,605. Hey, it's the number, who cares? Because I deal with this number and the change. A 675, and I want to see 1075 or whatever the situation might be. So here is our next levels. We have 15,641, 15,685. And then guess what? We get up, and that would be this 7.786 for minute wave 5. Minute wave 5 would be equal to minute wave 3 at 15,802. Minor 5 would be equal to 50% of minor 3 at 15,783. Guess where the next candidate comes in? We do have these, and that could stop it, and it meets everybody else's parameters in terms of wavelengths. But should it extend it, these would be our next zone. We've got these in here, but they could do this in globex. So if this is only wave 3, I'm looking for a 4 and I'm looking for a 5. Why 5 could definitely take us there. And if 5 decides to extend like 3 did, well, now we're up here. And I kept 16,000 up there, but I really, in my wildest imagination, didn't think that the market could muster enough buying power to accelerate it and push it to that level. But obviously, we're there. We're not that far. I mean, yesterday when I was talking about, we were a good 200-300 points away from 15,600. Didn't make any difference, did it? They got there, and it just did its thing. It got 200 points away, and it did its thing, and it held there. Had no problem staying above it. Came down and tested 15,600 once, drifted below it just a little bit, and then plowed back right back up above it. So stranger things have happened, and the NASDAQ is notorious. Again, the big thing for me today was the low volume. Moving a market this hard, this high on low volume. But that is, it's the last week before schools in many, many, many parts of the country begin. We have a holiday next Monday, being Labor Day. This is like the official end of the summer season, et cetera, et cetera. So once we get back in September, hey, back to business. So easy to move the market. I still firmly believe we are in a topping process. And no matter where this thing tops off, the initial reaction off of it should be total rejection of the level. And just the buyers move in, a shock to the market. I continue to look at that. That's what I think is the only thing that's going to make people to stop and say, oh, I'm not pushing that buy button anymore. There has to be something that convinces them that's done. And right now, I do believe that a lot of it is algorithmic. So in other words, it's like we have algorithms that actually just scour the markets and what they're looking for, say in Apple and in Amazon and in Google and Facebook, which were to the moon today. Facebook was up $8, Google up 11, Amazon up 71, and it was up 86 at one point. Apple closes up $4.50, Microsoft almost $4 higher, Square $4 higher, et cetera, et cetera. Those markets, they contribute quite heavily to the movement in the NASDAQ. So, but if you're an algorithm and you're out in Apple, your structure or your makeup in that algorithm is to take advantage of premium in the options. Well, if they're selling call premium, they're buying the underlying. If you're buying Apple, you're going to be pushing up the NASDAQ index because that's the heaviest weighted stock in the NASDAQ. If you're buying Amazon and you're buying calls, then you're going to be a seller. But if you're selling the calls, because you're selling the premium in Amazon, you're buying the stock. Buy the stock, push up the pricing in the NASDAQ. If you're buying puts in Amazon, you're buying stock to hedge the stock. And remember, an algorithm, their trades basically, not always, but most of the time, their trades in the larger firms, it's a done deal. You bought it here via this instrument, you're selling it via this instrument, take it off, exercise the options, done deal, money in the account. So what we sit with like, oh, wow, Amazon, everybody must love Amazon. Not necessarily. If the trades were there, they're going to happen. And you can't blame them. That's the whole nature of the game. So speaking of the nature of the game, that part of it has changed. Yes, their positions do get carried, but a lot of them done for the day. The high volume firms done for the day, boom, exercise that night. They get it all wrapped up, boom, you're out the door. Now, put that together with a thin market and you get blast off. So until things switch where the premiums are going to be heavier in the puts, well, then you're going to see that they'll be selling the puts and then they'll be selling the underlying, and that's going to knock down the price of the index. So it just depends on what the combinations are. And I'm not saying that's the sole reason, but I'm saying what things can contribute to it. Because I'm going to be hard pressed to go find out. It's like, why would somebody pay 15,600 for the NASDAQ in belief that it's going much higher? And what's going to propel it higher? What are people looking at? And there's all kinds of fundamental crap that they throw out there. But Elliott Wave knows nothing about fundamentals. And so therefore I try to stay out of it as well. It's just pure chart. And it's human emotions, it's human behavior that propels these different waves. And they all have different characteristics. So I continue to follow that. So for tomorrow, our hourly chart as on a stochastic basis and the momentum, come on, there. The momentum indicator is kind of turning over a little bit. And yeah, okay, I can live with that. But that just suggests that what we're really going to get, come on, computer. You see how it does that? I think it's time for a new mouse. Actually, I want to go to the this up. We should see if we get this is the A and this is a B, we get a C. We're only looking for maybe back to, what is that, 586? Yeah, 15,586 for a little fourth wave. I mean, this was a pretty big third. So in essence, this thing could drop back down to the 20, maybe even a little lower. And still turn around, propel higher, and put in a new high, get us up there. Okay, so I am looking for a fourth wave pullback before the market decides to launch higher. So we have 641, 685. If this subminute wave 5 subdivides, this thing could end up here. Nothing is unusual. Again, slow week, pre-holiday. A lot of traders taking it off. Last week to take the kids on vacation before they start school, etc., etc. Continue to trade using moving averages. This one, you just had to be there. You bought, you got out, it came down, you bought, you got out, it came down. And I'm not talking about a lot, but it continued to follow the 4 and the 8. Look at how clean that was. And the 20. When they start to get a little bit too far away, then I'm looking for a little bit longer or a little bit larger of a pullback. But right now, the 4 walked it up. The 8 walked it up, particularly the 4. There was no reason. You just followed it. Yes, these were like 30-minute little sell periods, and that was worth trading to the short side, sure. But there were rallies inside there. So, you couldn't just sell it and sit with it because they turned it several times. But it wasn't all that difficult, and it was a good profitable day. So hoping for the best for tomorrow. This is where I'm going to leave it for today, and our next update will be Tuesday the 31st.